Now, we've gone through how to do basic addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, some simple functions, exponentials, logarithms. Now let's talk about built-in functions. Now, what built-in functions are in Excel are functions that do a whole bunch of math. So let's say you want to calculate an average. There is an algebraic formula for that. You add up all the numbers and divide by the number of data points. So this is a function. But because it's done so commonly, especially with Excel sheets, we actually have a function that does it for us. All we have to do is give it the set of numbers we're looking for. So the four functions I want to introduce you to in this video are max, min, average, and standard deviation. Now, the max function is what you expect to do. If you give it a list of numbers, it's going to find the maximum number in that list. Now, to do this, we type equals, max, and open parentheses. And we highlight our data. So let's look at the data for trial 4. Highlight it all the way down to data point 20, and we close it. And this tells us that the maximum value in trial 4 based on that range is 0.99. Min is going to work the same way. It's equals, min for minimum, and highlight the data set you're interested in. Now, the nice thing about these functions is that you don't have to deal with isolated lists. So let's say you want to look at the min among all 4 trials. You can type equals, max for the max, and you can highlight all the columns of data. So the maximum value based off these 4 columns of numbers. And if you hit equals, still 0.99. Let's say you want to do trials 1, 3, and 4, but you don't want to do all of them. In this case, you can type equals max, highlight trial 1, and then if you do a comma, what a comma tells Excel is that you're going to break up the list. These aren't necessarily connected pieces of data. So now you can highlight something else. We can highlight trials 3 and 4. And it will find the max based off the data from trial 1, trial 3, trial 4, and not trial 2. So whenever you enter these functions, you can type equals min open, you're going to notice that it says number, comma, number, comma, number. What that's telling you is that you can enter in multiple lists of numbers. And typically you do this by entering in basically selected areas. Now you can also do it cell by cell. Let's say you want to click there, 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 and find the min. It's going to do that as well. So that's our max and min. What about average? Well, the command for average is what you expect. Equals, average, open parentheses, and you just highlight the data. And like the max min functions, it'll give you the options of selecting multiple data sets. So if you want to do the average based across all 4 trials, you have that option. Close parentheses, and there's your average. Now the last one can be a little bit confusing because of the options it will give you. The most useful one is not actually the first option it gives you. So let's do standard deviation. Type equals stdev, and you notice all these functions come up. .p, .s, a, pa, p. Actually, stdev is the one we typically use in sciences. All the others are specific statistical references that we don't go over in chemistry 1 or 2. But if you open parentheses, highlight the data, hit enter, this is the standard deviation based off that list of numbers. So when you're going through the lab and you're looking for your average value based on your experimental results and you're looking for the standard deviations, you don't actually have to put in the big functions you use when you're doing it by hand. For example, if you want to figure out the average trial 4, you don't actually have to add all of these up and divide by the number of data points. And as far as the standard deviation goes, you don't have to worry about calculating the average, taking the difference between each data point, subtracting out the average, and squaring it. That big nasty function you see in your lab notebook. This is all taken care of through built-in functions within Excel. Now there's one other one we're going to consider really quick, and this is the sum function. Sum function is what you expect to do. It sums up all the numbers. So if we type equals sum and we give it a data set, it will add up all the numbers within the data set. Now the reason why this is such a useful function is that if we were to do the equivalent through algebra, let's say equals that plus that plus that, you can see how that would get really tedious. The sum function here is there to give you the ability to sum up a whole bunch of numbers without having to enter the plus signs in manually. So again, we're moving beyond basic functions that you do in terms of algebra, plus, minus, subtraction. These are actually built-in functions, so they're there to take care of a lot of time-consuming mathematics for you.